Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. All right, I'm going to talk about something that I usually don't. I normally cover the VOLS, but I'm going to cover the Colorado team and Deion Sanders today because I really think this is a home run hire. I think they made a great hire in Deion Sanders. Now, I know there's some people that don't think that he's going to be a great coach and all that, and that's all fine and well. I think you're wrong. I think he's going to be a great hire. And the reason I think that is the same reason that Josh HEUPEL has been so successful here at Tennessee. We've had 2 great years. I mean, 2 fantastic years with a fantastic head coach. So I know how the Colorado fans feel. They've had a tough go of it the last 10, 20 years, the same as the VOLS have. And the last 2 years have been fantastic. We have kind of turned the corner, and we got a great coach. And I think that's what you've done. I think you've hired a coach that's going to take you out of the doldrums and the crap that you've been in, because y'all have been in the crapper.
Merry Christmas! Dinner was full!
Yep, sorry to say it, but you know it's true. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here's the Colorado record the last umpteen years. Let's see, this year they were 1-11, won 1 game. Last year, 4-8. Then in the COVID year, 4-2. 5-7, 5-7, 5-7. They had 1 decent year in 2016, 10-4, then 4-9, 2-10, 4-8, 1-11, 3-10. I mean, that's horrible, horrible, horrible.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
The last time they were really good was in the mid-90s. They were very good. As a matter of fact, 11-1, 10-2, 10-2. They were an excellent team. And also back in the late 80s, early 90s, they were excellent. They even finished number 1 in 1990. So, I mean, they were a great team. But the last 20 years have been pretty tragic. I understand how you feel. But those days are over. I think you folks are going to have a lot of success, and it's probably going to happen fairly quickly. And the reason I think that is that your league is not that brutal. You've got teams ahead of you that I think you can handle over time. Now, you do have USC in there, and they're going to be good, but the rest of the teams are not, these aren't Georgia and Alabama type teams that you have to deal with every year. I think there's a really good runway for you to become a much improved team. And the other reason I think you're going to be successful, look at the guy's record who's coming in. This was Jackson State last year, 11-2 under Deion Sanders. And this year he's 12-0, undefeated. So I think this guy's a winner, and he's going to continue that path at Colorado. The other huge thing he's got going for him is that he's an incredible recruiter. I mean, when he calls somebody, they pick up the phone because it's Deion Sanders. And those young men that he's recruiting love him, okay? I mean, he is a superstar to those young men, and they're going to listen, and a lot of them are going to go to Colorado. They just picked up Dylan Edwards, who's a big-time 4-star running back, which does not surprise me in the slightest. He had been committed to Notre Dame, of all places, and switched over to Colorado. What do you think the odds are he would have gone to Colorado without Deion Sanders being there? 0. And Edwards said, I know a lot of guys are about to come here. He says a lot of guys are about to flip their commitments. They're all big Power 5 guys with a lot of offers. Nobody is safe in this situation. Coach Deion's plan here is worth coming to look at, and recruits are going to want to do that. The other issue is the number 1 overall recruit last year who went to Jackson State, of all places. I mean, he got the number 1 guy, is going to head to Colorado. He said it's imminent. He's also got his son, the quarterback, coming, who's a very good quarterback. I really think it's only a matter of time for Coach Prime. And since those guys are following Sanders, Sanders is still planning on coaching his team, Jackson State, in the Celebration Bowl on Saturday. But he has promised the biggest recruiting weekend in the history of Colorado football when he returns. So the folks in Colorado are so excited they can't stand it. They had the biggest day when it was announced of merchandise sales in the history of Colorado football. So, they couldn't be more excited. So, and I'm happy for them. I really am. I know how it feels to be in the doldrums for years with your football team and to finally get some oxygen. Now I will tell you, when we hired Coach HEUPEL, I wasn't excited about it. It wasn't like a Deion Sanders hire or something like that. He was kind of under the radar. He had been offensive coordinator at a couple of places, and he'd been very successful. but I never really kept up with him. Then he went to UCF, and he was successful there as a head coach. And everywhere he went, the offense just took off. But, you know, he wasn't a big splashy hire. But I can tell you what, after about the 4th or 5th game of seeing him coach, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a whole new world. We were scoring points like crazy. We were ahead of teams 28-0, 35-7. Teams were used to do that to us, and we were doing it to quality SEC teams. It was obvious to me that Danny White had hired a home run hitter, and he was hitting them out of the park with a team that was decimated. We had lost 30 players, and I think you're going to have a pretty darn quick turnaround there at Colorado just the same. So I'm happy for Colorado because I'm not going to sit here and be bitter about it and go, oh no, they're going to be good and cost us players. Look, when you've been down for 20 years, you deserve to start working your way back up the way we've done it. And as far as the transfer portal, that's going to help Colorado a ton because they're in a very similar situation to UT. Not quite, probably a little bit worse. But the thing is, we're not in the hotbed of recruiting here. The best recruits are in Georgia, Alabama, Florida, LSU, and places like that. Same thing for Colorado. The best players out there are probably going to be in California. So Colorado's, you know, pretty good distance from there. But with the transfer portal and NIL money, you can get those players now. That's why I was so fired up about the NIL deal and the transfer portal. I was like, okay, now we can get players that we were losing to Alabama and Georgia and Florida and LSU and Florida State and all those teams, because that's where everybody lives that are 4 and 5 stars. You know, the city of Knoxville, Tennessee does not have a lot of 4 and 5 stars. The state of Tennessee does not have a lot of 5 stars at all. We didn't have a single 5-star this year. That's just a fact. Whereas if you go to Georgia, you run into one on every corner. They're just loaded. That's why Georgia is so ridiculously talented. Well, now we can get some of those guys, and we are getting them. You know, we picked up Nico out of California, a 5-star, because of NIL and because of the offense that's so prolific. It's an offense that any quarterback would want to play in. So for all those Colorado Buffalo fans out there, I'm happy for you. I think you're going to have a fantastic year and then probably a much better one the year after and the year after that. We'll see how it goes, but I'm going to keep my eye on Deion because I've always liked him, especially back when he played for the Braves and we went from worst to first. I became a big fan of him there, and I hope he's successful and has a good career out there, and I hope he sticks with you and doesn't have some success and then go to a bigger school, because that would stink. But, you know, we'll see how it plays out, but you got some good years ahead of you. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover. Now, I usually cover the VOLS. That's my team. But I like to cover NCAA football and all the big stories. So anyway, hit that like button if you like it. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.